Hello, in this video I will demonstrate how to perform a t-test to test the difference between two means for small samples. The example states the following: a researcher would like to test a claim that the average rental prices in Arcadia are different than the average rental prices in Pasadena. She collects the data listed in the table below. The data is in US dollars. Test her claim using alpha equal to 0.05. So we're given rental data. The first step is we have to compute the sample mean and the sample standard deviation for both data sets. I will be using a scientific calculator to do this. I'm using the TI-30X Plus. So for this type of calculator, I click on data and I have three columns to enter the data. So the first column, I will enter the Arcadia data. And in the second column, I will enter the Pasadena data. Once both sets of data have been entered, the next step is we calculate the two sample means and the two sample standard deviations. For this calculator, I select second standard deviation, and I want the two variable statistics. Select enter, make sure the proper columns are selected, and then just press calculate. So for the first data set, the sample size is 9. The average is 2,551.78. Standard deviation is 315.09. Now let's go down to the second data set. So for the second data set, the mean is 1674.22. Standard deviation 361.65, and N sample size is also 9. Alright, now we need to state the claim and determine H naught and H sub 1. Mu1 represents the average rental price for Arcadia. Mu2 is the average rental price for Pasadena. We're looking for a claim that states that the average rental prices are different. So we're saying that mu1 is not equal to mu2. That's the claim. That's H sub 1. H naught is that mu1 equals mu2. This is a t-test because we have only the sample standard deviations. Since it's a t-test, we have to find our degrees of freedom. So we have to compute n1 minus 1, n2 minus 1. So that's going to give us 9 minus 1 is 8. 9 minus 1 is 8. Now typically we pick the smaller of the two values, but since both values are 8, that's our degrees of freedom. And we will use that to look up our critical values. So we have a two-tailed t-test because we have a difference. Difference means not equal to, and that implies that there's no direction. So we have two tails. And now we have to look up the critical values in table F. 2 tails, 0.05, we go down to 8. Degrees of freedom is 8, so 2.306. Those are the two critical values. We have positive 2.306, negative 2.306. Next, we calculate the test point. T, that's the difference in the sample means minus the difference in the population means, divided by radical S1 squared over N1 plus S2 squared over N2. Also keep in mind that the difference of the population means is 0. So we collect our information, we plug it into this formula and calculate. I'll go ahead and do this using the scientific calculator. So the way I type it in is I like to use parentheses. So 315.78 minus 1674.22. Close the parentheses, select divided by, I just ignore the minus 0, that's just 0. Now we're going to divide by the square root. We take 315.09 squared, that's divided by 9, plus 361.65 squared. Make sure you're in the radical, divided by 9, and then hit enter, and we end up with our value. Let's see, let me go back and redo this again. There might have been a small error. Let me use this format here. So, and then I want to make sure I have the correct values. Let me use these values. So we have the difference in the sample means. Sometimes you want to make sure you double check your results. And then the square root, we have 315.09 squared over 9 plus 361.65 squared over 9. Hit enter, and then yes, that's our correct value. So that always double check, make sure, because sometimes it's easy just to type in a wrong value, but the correct result is 5.49. All right, now we go ahead and we make our decision, and 5.49 does fall in the critical region. It's greater than the critical value, so it's in the shaded region. Thus, we reject H naught, and then we summarize our results. The claim is H sub 1. We rejected H naught, therefore, we should write there is enough evidence to support the claim. Thanks for watching the video.